I don't know where this footage is, but I remember I interviewed Charlie Murphy.
Yeah.
Like,
my man. That was
long
my man.
time ago. Yeah, shout out to Charlie.
Charlie
Really
Murphy,
cool
man.
dude. And I remember, I don't know where this tape is, because I never put this out. We were in Jersey at like a little cafe.
Right.
And I'm like, do you think Eddie will ever come back and do another stand-up? And he said, probably not. I said, really, why? He goes, well, because if he tried to do it, if he tried to jump back in, he would be whack. He'd have to spend about a year or more on the stand-up circuit getting his chops back. He hasn't done a fucking stand-up in like 30 years. Like,
man, when I'm on stage for 3 days, I'm like, oh man. Because stand-up it's a really strange thing. Stand-up is a thing you have to be on it a lot. Like, it's just because it's so, like, it's so difficult. And to be present, and you gotta be doing it a couple times a week. Yeah, I'm not even bullshitting you.
Yeah.
You know, it's scary shit. Adam Sandler started to get back into it. He was frightened, I remember.
Well, I can tell you, I'm not going to say any names, but when I was hanging out with you the other night, I saw a very big difference between the different stand-up comedians. I saw a world of difference. And it was like, wow, like, we are not all equal here, like, on this stage. Like,
and
it don't matter.
Some of these motherfuckers are the ones they got more specials than you.
Yeah.
And you blowing them off the motherfucking stage, and they're like on their third special.
Yeah.
But they found a way to make a lot of these comics are doing TED Talks. You know?
Yeah.
I'm thinking we should reverse it. Why don't we go to TED Talk and do a special? Do an actual comedy special on a TED Talk. Because it seems like they're doing TED Talks on these Netflix specials.
Do you think that Eddie will come back and kill it, or do you think he's just going to take his check and it'll be like, all right?
Well, I don't think they're going to give him a check and he not do nothing. He has to do something.
Well,
you know, 70 Eddie Murphy should be listen, Eddie Murphy, I don't give a fuck what he does. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's the greatest, he's the baddest motherfucker on the planet. But I think that Eddie Murphy, I think that just ego-wise and reputation-wise, because the last special he did was in 87, was Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, that's eras. 87.
30 years.
30 years. Going through the 90s, you didn't do shit. The early 2000s, you didn't do shit. That's and 10 kids later, maybe 10 kids later. I think, but my thing is this, and I hope Eddie Murphy maybe watches this. I think that I know it'll be smart for him. Talk about Charlie. Do stories about Charlie. I mean, he should talk about, like, you know, talk about his children. You know what I mean? Do stuff about his children. Do stuff about, like, you know, the shit that he used to talk about. I think that he can do all of that. Like, all the shit that he's been through. You know what I mean? He could talk about some of the movies that weren't as good as he thought they would be. He's like, man, what the fuck was Pluto Nash, man? What the fuck was that, man? I'm sorry, I apologize, man. I apologize for that. That was some
bullshit.
That was some bullshit. I'm sorry, but I had to get a check, man. Fuck you. Suck my dick. You know? But you know what I mean? I think that if he does it, I don't think he should rush it. I think he should spend at least 1 to 2 years on honing his skill. Because listen, he's going to have to show up to clubs. They're going to go crazy. I think they should set up private place things for him. I think he should work on his shit. He should surround himself with other comics. Because, you know, every comic's going to be like, dude, I'll write for you for free. You're Eddie Murphy. And he knows plenty of comedians. And I already know the motherfuckers that are going to be around him. But he should have a think tank of people with him. Because Eddie Murphy is a natural funny, and he's probably one of the most talented human beings on the planet. He can do voices. He can do. Did you see him do the Sammy Davis thing? When he's like, listen, babe. He's fantastic. He can change his voice. He should do that. He should do voice changes. He should do character stuff. I think he should work on a nice little. Act. But I think he should go to the clubs, and he needs to work his chops out for at least a year or two. Don't do anything yet.
Right, because I looked at some of his worst movies. 1,000 Words. Remember that one?
Oh, with the trees and that. Yeah.
Crap.
I thought Metro.
Pluto Nash.
I think Metro was a sleeper movie. Metro was pretty damn good. He was serious in that movie. Eddie Murphy can do serious roles, and I'm looking forward to Dolomite. You know, he did Dolomite.
He's doing Dolomite.
He did Dolomite. Eddie can act. Eddie can do anything.
Yeah.
And I think the stand-up part, I'm sure he regrets not, like, sticking with it. Because Eddie's, you know what I mean? It would have been cool if he stuck with it. Even if he didn't do it a lot, if he just went in and out like Seinfeld. Seinfeld still does comedy, comes back.
Yeah, he shows up to clubs.
Clubs.
He'll randomly show up to a New York club.
And Eddie is bigger than Seinfeld. Like, Eddie is like another level. You got to understand what Eddie has done for comedy. He literally made SNL was number one because of Eddie Murphy.
Right. You could tell Seinfeld. I mean, Seinfeld even said that Eddie was better than him.
Yeah. Eddie's
when
funny.
They did that Comedians in Cars.
But Eddie gave him props and said, Seinfeld, you're like one of the greatest comedians because he is. Writing wise, just his technique, and he's very wise. Seinfeld's a very wise comedian. You know what I mean? And I've gotten advice from Seinfeld. And this is what Seinfeld told me. When I was in my 9th year, because I'm in the documentary Comedian with Jerry Seinfeld, and he said, how long you been doing comedy? I said, 9 years. He says, that's your age in comedy. You're a 9-year-old. Don't ever forget that. Bang. Boom. Every comic should know, whatever year you're in, that's your year in comedy. So if you're 5 years, shut the fuck up. You're not a fucking professional. You got a lot of comedians. I got people that go like this. Hey, I'm a comedian. How long you been doing? A year. You're not a fucking comedian. Because TK Kirkland, which is so funny because everybody is making fun of TK Kirkland going, yo, I think TK taught Jesus how to do comedy too, right?
Yeah, TK, like there's this weird effect that happened where in all the Vlad TV YouTube comments, no matter what it's about, someone will put in TK into the story, taking credit for whatever has happened.
TK introduced Moses to Pharaoh.
Right.
TK and TK, but I'm sorry to say this, TK Kirkland's not lying. I'm sorry, he's not. TK got me out to New York.
Let me tell you something. Someone sent me these old NWA videos.
And you see them.
Screenshots of TK in the actual video.
You see them.
I thought it was like the DJ or something. No, that's TK.
That's TK Kirkland.
He was in the DLC video.
TK Kirkland got me my first manager. TK Kirkland, when I got my first manager, I lived in an apartment with Viola Davis when she was at Juilliard. I'm not fucking around. This is 100th and West End. She was my roommate for a couple months. TK Kirkland hooked me up with my managers. He got me out to Chicago.
You and Viola Davis shared an apartment?
Yeah, it was 4 people, 4 roommates. Okay. And I had the one, and Viola took me to my room. I'm not even bullshit. I was with my friend Bernadette, who was in Love Jones. I drove 20 hours from Chicago in a U-Haul truck, and Viola Davis was the first person I met at the door at 100 in West End.
Wow.
And now I got to get famous because everybody that I meet is more famous to me and my shit. And TK Kirkland is real. It's the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, D.L. Hughley would tell me, TK Kirkland stories. And
it's the truth. TK's been around, dude. He's been around. He can say whatever fucking what, but I love that running joke. Oh, TK. Oh, okay. TK introduced Hulk Hogan to the a T to the motherfucking K and get your ass in the car. That's my man. That's my big brother.
I love TK.
That's my big brother.
I love TK.
And I love
TK
that
loves
popular.
me. Like it's a great relationship.
And he's honest and he's real. And that's what you're going to get from TK, man.